Hello my darlings, I hope you're all well. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Marion Kirk and I am a tarot reader and astrologer with over 20 years experience, and every week I do a little week ahead reading, and there will be other content coming to the channel, but who knows when I can do that. So welcome back everybody, or welcome everybody. This week we are continuing to choose a different deck a week, and the deck that I chose out of the wee jar here is the Black Violet Tarot. Now this is a mass market version because you cannot get the indie version for love nor money, and I was very silly and I missed out on it because it was always one of the decks, oh, I'll get to it, I'll need to get a copy of that, and when I eventually get round to it, I could not find it anywhere because it went out of print. So this is a mass market version. I have to admit it's by Rockpool and it is absolutely glorious. The box is lovely. The cards, really decent card stock, lovely purple but violet edges, and it's a black and white deck, and if you've been here for a while you'll know how much I adore black and white decks. So let's get into before we get into the energies of this week, I'm getting ahead of myself. I have got some astrological news, some forecasting to see what's happening this week. So it is the week the 24th of August until the 30th of August. But do you know what? See if you come across this video at a different time. It's past this week coming. It's maybe like 6 months, a year from now, randomly I've just turned up in your algorithm. Then there might be something in this video that's relevant to you, so don't discard it just because the dates don't match for you. Okay, so what have we got? Right, so technically that was this was last week, but it was Sunday, so probably when you're watching this, if you watch it on Sunday, the day that it comes out, it'll be relevant. So the sun enters Virgo today. So we say cheerio to the wonderful, lavish, extraordinary Leo season, and we get a bit grounded now with Virgo season. Okay, so Virgo season. So what is Virgo? Virgo is an earth sign. It is the mutable earth sign. So we have cardinal, fixed, and mutable signs. So mutable signs are the most changeable. So even though earth signs are pretty like set in their ways, a mutable earth sign being Virgo, Virgo can change more easily than say like Taurus and Capricorn. Virgo is ruled by the planet Mercury, and that'll be really interesting and relevant because there is a lot of mercurial energy happening this week. Okay, Mercury's pretty busy. So as I say, right, okay, so the 25th, right, so that'll be Tuesday this week, right, Mercury moves into Virgo. Okay, and Mercury rules Virgo, so Mercury's really happy being in Virgo. It's coming home. There's a wee bit of a rough trot between its other sign that it rules, Gemini. So it's had to go through Cancer, and it's had to go through Leo until it gets to Virgo, right? So Mercury's had a wee bit of a rough summer, like most of us, put it that way. And then what happens as well on the 25th is Mercury trines Chiron in Taurus. So what we might find is there could be some painful conversations happening, okay, some painful methods of communication, but ultimately it's part of your healing journey. So I would suggest, maybe, I don't know, like off the top of my head, if you have been considering maybe going to contact a therapist for something, this week might be a good week to do that. Okay, what else we got? The 27th, we have got the Sun conjunct Mercury. Now what a conjunction is it's when the two planets are basically sitting on top of each other. So if you imagine like a Mercury and Sun sandwich, right? They're on top of each other, they're in the same degree. And what that can be is the sun can amplify whatever planet. So sun amplifying Mercury could be quite a loud week, in communication, whether it's actual shouting, people are shouting, or you maybe feel as if you're just screaming into the void and nobody can hear you. Well, maybe this week people will actually start to hear you, start to listen to you. Some of the things that could happen is you could, if you create social media content, you can maybe get a viral post, something like that. If you're launching something to do with communication, maybe like a new course or something like that, then I would suggest that the 27th is quite a good day to do that. Then what we've got is, as we move into the rest of the week, 28th of August, we have got Mercury square Uranus in Gemini. Now here's the thing, modern astrologers, which I am not, but obviously I still know information, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury in modern astrology. So these two planets are very complementary. And whilst you wouldn't necessarily say Virgo and Gemini are complementary, they're both ruled by the same sign, i.e. Mercury. So there is similarities between the two signs. So that, for me personally, I could be talking absolute shit, but it doesn't feel like the worst square in the world. Okay, please excuse the traffic noises. I have got my window open and it's very warm. So that's really what it feels like. It's not the worst square in the world. Okay, for me personally, I don't think it's the worst thing to have happened. What else have we got? We have got a partial lunar eclipse in Pisces on the 28th. Okay, so that is Friday. So we've got a lunar eclipse in Pisces on Friday. Partial lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse can only happen when the moon is full. Okay, now we had that major eclipse a couple of weeks ago in Leo, while we're still, kind of coming to terms with everything that happened there. This is what we term as the end of eclipse season. With the moon being full in Pisces, it's going to be emotional. Right? The moon's always emotional. Pisces is emotional. Pisces is a dreamer. Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac. And Pisces encompasses every other sign of the zodiac. Everybody's energy is cocooned within the sign of Pisces. What I would suggest is, I'm kind of old school when it comes to eclipses. Okay, I am very much, we don't do any magics. That's my personal preference. You might be different, and I don't gatekeep. It's like you do whatever feels appropriate for you. But just remember, same rules apply. Full moon. We are not bringing anything towards us, we are letting things go should you wish to do so. As I say, I tend to just leave it. I'll maybe just like pull a card of the day like I usually do for myself and do a bit of journaling, maybe do an extra bit of journaling. I've got like a kind of scrapbooky sticker journal thing that I'm dabbling in every now and again, so I'll maybe create like a layout for that. So that's the astro weather this week. So it's a big week. And what I should say is we have still got this opposition playing out between Venus and Saturn, okay, and Libra and Aries respectively. And what you could find is maybe relationships that are older relationships and maybe kind of coming up, or relationships that we've had in the past, or it tends to denote a relationship that we've had maybe with somebody who's a bit older than us, or a relationship with people in our lives who are older than us, but it tends to kind of a maybe signal. If you've got it natally, you tend to find that people tend to have relationships with partners who are, there's an age gap, that kind of thing, that you're attracted to people who are older than you. So that's the astro weather. I just wanted to give that a wee shout out, that opposition. Now let's get into the cards proper, because I spoke for 10 minutes, so if you're still here, yay! The good thing is there is chapters and we can skip and you can get to whatever bit you want to get to. But I kind of shortchanged you last week because my throat was really sore, and you can hear I'm still a little bit croaky, so bear with. Okay, so 24th to 30th. Okay, now the bottom of the deck we have got the Tower, okay, which is Mars influence. Mars is quite quiet just now. I don't know why, but we're not complaining. Okay, so it could be, that's the Tower is underpinning our week, so it could be, with that shift in energy, that shift in pace, we could be experiencing, a shift in communications. Dynamic communications is the words that I want to use. It could be time to shift things, like the culmination of the eclipse season. What's the last 2 weeks been like for you? In particular, what's been getting brought up? What conversations have you been having with people? What have you had time to really dig deep into things? It's that energy that's coming through. It can be dramatic and chaotic, but it can also be Mars is dynamic, Mars is passion, Mars is gets things done. What have you been sitting procrastinating on? Maybe over the summer you're thinking, right, it feels like it's time to get back to work or time to get back to school or whatever it is, the energy, and you're feeling like, right, it's time now. Okay, now what have we got proper in the reading? We have got the Knight of Wands, we've got the Four of Swords, and we've got the Two of Pentacles, and it's it's kind of it's a bit strange, this energy. We've got the Knight of Wands who's just like, yeehaw, let's go charging into things. And it's a card of, I always associate the Knight of Wands like Sagittarius, it's like, let's go charging in here, let's see what's happening, let's just get on our horse and let's go forward. We're here for a good time, not a long time, let's just go for it. Okay, so if there's been something you've been sitting procrastinating on, it really feels like this is the time to go. But in contrast to that, it's as if there is like two groups of people for these three cards. In context, we have got the Four of Swords. So this is really like a card of, let's rest our mind. Let's chill out, let's stop the overthinking. And maybe if we have been suffering from some overthinking this week, then the way to get through the overthinking and to diminish it is to actually do the thing that we've been thinking about. So that could be a way to get through it. The third card is the Two of Pentacles. Now I love this because it really brings together the whole reading. And what we're saying here is, yes, get on your horse, be like the Knight of Wands and go forth and conquer. But don't forget to rest. So we've got these two together. Don't forget to rest. But we're going to have really active days, and we're going to have really quiet nights. Okay, that's what it feels like. And then we get this sense of understanding about our true selves, and this real sense of balance with the Two of Pentacles, because we can balance. Maybe it's for work-life balance, maybe it is where we spend our money, maybe it is the projects that we want to do. It could be you're in a situation where it's like you need to do what you can until you can do what you want to. You know, that can be a theme that comes up quite often. And what I would say is, if you're in that predicament, realise that nothing's going to last, it's not going to last forever, right? This current state that you're in, that could be why the Tower is underpinning our reading this week. It's where you can see yourself grow. It's an opportunity this week where you can really feel like things are moving forward finally. Maybe you get some clarity. Maybe over the summertime it's been it's been really warm, you know, and you've just not been able to think properly, and maybe you've just been thinking too much, or maybe you've been resting, and now it's like this week it's like, right, let's do this. Yeah, let's really do this, let's really focus on what it is we have to do, and let's get it done. Okay, so I'm going to pull out a card from the Brief Journey Oracle, because I've not even been getting these Oracle cards, you know, and these have stuck by me, so thank you so much. Right, let's see. Okay, interesting. So we have got the Detached card, okay, and in the context of this reading, I think what we need to do this week is we need to pay attention, obviously, to the tarot cards, and whilst we are doing the thing, like the Knight of Wands suggests that we do, we detach our thinking, we detach the overthinking process. You know, it's like, I can't shift this feeling of don't think. Okay, obviously be safe, right? I mean, that goes without saying, right? You know, don't do anything too crazy that's going to end you up in trouble or land you in trouble or something. You know, we don't want that. But what I'm saying is, maybe have the conversation that you've been scared to have. You know, maybe say the things and don't overthink it. Detach from the outcome of it, but just really, you know, really think. No to think. That makes sense. No, it's like actions speak louder than words. That's just come into my mind, right? So maybe that's the message of the week. Actions speak louder than words. Okay, my darlings, thank you so much for tuning in, joining in the comments below. If you have stayed to the end, put a little panda emoji in the comments, okay? And I will see you next week. Bye bye. Enjoy the week.